Dividing decimals. The procedure for dividing decimals is as follows. Step 1. Move the decimal point in the divisor to the right to make it a whole number. Step 2. Move the decimal point in the dividend to the right the same number of places as in step 1. So in order to understand step 1 and step 2, the first thing we have to know is what's the divisor and what's the dividend. Well, if we write it in arithmetic form, then it is dividend divided by divisor. And if we're using the long division algorithm, then it's dividend divided by divisor. So in step 1, when it says to move the decimal point in the divisor to the right to make it a whole number, it's talking about the number on the outside of the box. In step 2, move the decimal point in the dividend to the right the same number of places as in step 1. That means that we have to move the decimal point of the number inside the box the same number of places that we moved it in the divisor outside of the box. Step 3, place the decimal point in the quotient directly above the decimal point in the dividend. Remember, the quotient is the answer to a division problem. So here would be the quotient. And when we're using the long division algorithm, then the quotient's the number that we get on top. So if our decimal point's here, we just bring it up. Step 4 is divide as you would whole numbers. So let's look at example A. In example A, we have 0.49 divided by 0.7. So to write this in long division, we would say 0.49 divided by 0.7. First thing we have to do is move the decimal point in the divisor one place to make it a whole number, which means we're going to move the decimal point in the dividend one place as well. That gives us the new problem, 4.9 divided by 7. Now we proceed, so we're going to move the decimal point in our dividend up into our quotient. Now we say 7 goes into 4 0 times. 7 goes into 49 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. And notice that at this point I'm ignoring the decimal point in the dividend. So I'm treating 4.9 as 49. Then we subtract 49 minus 49 is 0. So our solution is 0.7. In example B, we have 0.54 divided by 9. So that's 0.54 divided by 9. Notice that there is no decimal in the divisor, so we don't have to move the decimal point in the dividend. It stays right where it is. So all we do is bring it up. 9 goes into 0 0 times. 9 goes into 5 0 times. But 9 goes into 54 6 times. 6 times 9 is 54. And I subtract. 54 minus 54 is 0. So my solution is 0.06. In example C, I have 0.24 divided by 0.008. So I rewrite, that's 0.24 divided by 0.008. So I need to get rid of the decimal in the divisor, which means I'm going to have to move it 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So I move the decimal in the dividend 1, 2, 3 places to the right. I have an empty place at the end, so I have to add a 0. That's going to give me an 8 on the outside, and it's going to leave me with 240 or 240 on the inside. 8 does not go into 2, but 8 will go into 24 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. Subtract 24 minus 24 is 0. But don't forget that you still have this 0 at the end. Now you can bring it up or you can bring it down. And if we wanted to continue with the standard long division, we just bring it down and say 8 goes into 0, 0 times 0 times 8 is 0, and 0 minus 0 is 0, which gives us a remainder of 0. Oftentimes, I find it easier if I have a 0 at the end of my number just to bring it up into my answer. And my solution is 30. So now we want to talk about dividing by a power of 10. This is very similar to multiplying. If you remember, multiplying by a power of 10, we move the decimal to the right as many places as there are zeros in the power of 10. When we're dividing, since it's the opposite of multiplication, we're going to move to the left. So to divide a number by a power of 10, move the decimal point to the left the same number of places as there are zeros in the power of 10. So if we look at example A, it's 54.3 divided by 10. There's 1 0 in our power of 10, so we'll move the decimal 1 place to the left. That gives us 5.43. In example B, there are 2 zeros in our power of 10, so we're going to have to move the decimal 2 places to the left. Well, we move it once, and then we move it again. And now there's an empty place, so we have to put a 0. So that's 0.0126. And then remember, if we don't have anything before the decimal, we just give it another 0. So our answer is 0.0126.